Hello again and welcome. In today's video I'm going to be going through the Woodcut Bowlsaver, now available at Axminster Tools here in the UK. I'm going to go through what's in the box, how to assemble the piece of kit, and indeed one of the methods to use it to get those all important extra bowls out of your mother blank. Without further ado, let's get up close and personal with the Woodcut Bowlsaver. In the box you will find the manual, the base plate, the rotating cast plate here, a bolt for attaching the rotating plate to the base plate, the tool post, and that can be either 25.4mm or 25mm in diameter, and a tool post collar for adjusting the height of the blade. In addition to that, there's a Tommy bar, 3 hex keys, a tailstock assembly, 2 blades, the handle base clamp, 2 hex headed bolts with washers to attach the handle clamp to the rotating plate and indeed the handle. So what I'll do now is assemble this ready for the final adjustments. So to attach the rotating black plate to the base plate, you merely slot in the supplied bolt and tighten up the nut, and that is then secured and rotating, and then your tool post is screwed into the base plate and just finger tighten the collar, and you can place this into your tool rest, ready to assemble the rest of the kit. Now to insert the blades, you merely slide them into the slots available on the base handle, and this small blade is going to be the one I'm going to be using, so that's in the active position. Now you can, if you so wish, store the passive blade in the unit as well, and the only thing you have to make sure of there is that when it's stored, and that's in the passive position upside down, when the saver comes to the stop, that this part of the passive blade doesn't go past this part here. So you just need to make sure when it's on the plate that doesn't go any further. Now you can tighten down the bolts. Now bearing in mind that you need to really get those nice and firm so there is no movement of the blade. So now we are set up with regards to the blades. Now the next thing to do is to get the correct height, and what we do there is put in a live center, and as I explained before, there's a collar on the tool post. I've already set mine up. What you do is loosen the collar and then present the blade to the live center and adjust the tool post, and then pinch the tool post up and pinch up the Allen key on the collar, and then every time you use the kit, it's going to be at the correct height for your particular lathe. Now, to obtain the best from any tool, we know you must keep the edge as sharp as you possibly can. Now, with the woodcut blades, you don't need to take them to the grinder. That's the business end, that edge there, and all you need to do is refresh the burr on that edge. And to do that, take a diamond card, I've got 180 grit here, and then marry that up to that edge flat, and very lightly, a couple of circular motions is the way I like to do it, and then that raises that burr ready to go. No need to go to the grinder. And my advice also is that each time you core a bowl is just refresh that burr, and then that will save sharpening and will give the best possible results. When the blades come from the manufacturer, they are ground with a 5-degree bevel on the front face, creating a negative rake effectively, and this configuration is recommended for hard woods. Now, if you should be turning softwood or coring softwood, then that face there should be straight, or parallel if you like, with no negative rake. That's what Woodcut recommend. Now, also in the box are 2 paper templates which you can stick onto some MDF or plywood and cut out to the shape, and they are there is one for the large blade and one for the small blade. Now, as we're using the small blade, as I explained earlier, there's a mark here on the pointy bit and it says center of bolt, so you line that up with the center of the bolt, and then that gives you the depth or base of arc of cut of the blade, so you have an idea of where the base of your first bowl is going to be. Also available is this laser guide, and the laser guide consists of an L-shaped jig, and that slots in to the center of the bolt supplied with the laser that replaces the original bolt, and you line that up with the edge of your blade. And if I put this bit of paper in, you can see, and you have the laser on the innermost hole for the small blade, and you line it up approximately with the blade, as you can see there, so it's on the edge of the cutter, and then that will give you the arc of your bowl and where the bottom of the arc of the cut is going to be. We've got all the setup and the measuring methods sorted now, and what I've got on is an ash blank. It's about 8%, so it's dry. I've roughly shaped the outside. What you can do at this stage is to complete the outside of the bowl, and you can see here I've got some bark which I've left on, and I will play around with the mother bowl for the shape and what I'm actually going to do if I leave that on. But this doesn't dictate the inside bowls that I'm going to core, because they obviously will be a true arc, so they will be a standard bowl shape if you like, but the mother blank can be whatever shape you like, providing you've got sufficient wood to core out what you wish. Now, out of this bowl, it's about just over 11 inches wide. I should be able to get possibly 3 bowls out of this. I've got a mortise on the back when I turn this. Now, before we actually get to the coring, we need to put a mortise in here so that when we've cored the first bowl out, we have a mounting point to turn a tenon to finish turn the bowl we're coring. So I am using currently the Axminster sea jaws, so I'll just make a mark, and when you do this, make sure the right hand leg doesn't come into contact with the wood, and just line them up. And when the right hand leg matches, there you go. We can just put a little pencil mark on there. and that's going to be the size of our mortise. So I'll just take that out. Now this doesn't have to be tidy because that's got to be the inside of the bowl that we're hollowing out, that we're actually coring. So it's just a mounting point so we can get a tenon on the back of the first cored bowl. We've gone through the setup of the Bowlsaver, the setup of the blank, the setup of the measuring of the depth of the blank you want to core, and we are virtually ready to core. But before we do, you need to bring up the tailstock and align up with the tailstock assembly on the Bowlsaver. Advance your quill and then lock down the locking screw on the Bowlsaver and lock down the quill, which gives added stability for the coring operation. Now before we actually start to core, check that everything is down and locked. Your banjo, your tool post lock, the tailstock assembly on the Bowlsaver, your quill, and indeed your tailstock itself. Now everything is secure and ready to go. As far as speed is concerned, a maximum of 600 is recommended. It does depend on the type of wood and indeed whether the wood is soft wood or whether it's wet or dry. Start off at a lower speed, around 350, 400 RPM, and while you're cutting side grain, it loves doing that, but once you turn the corner you're into end grain, and obviously the RPM is slower towards the middle of the blank, so you can increase the speed. And let's get going. So start the lathe, and we're starting off at about 350 RPM. Hold on to the handle and also keep downward pressure on the blade, and this stops any juddering. No pressure as such, just let the blade do the work. So what I've done, I have used this mortise that I did in the mother bowl on the face of it, and I put that in my chuck, formed a tenon, and I've now got it remounted. So this is the cored bowl, and we're going to get another little bowl out of it. So again, everything locked down, set up, and let's get coring. Ooh. And that one came out a little bit too quick, but no harm done. Well, that was the Woodcut Bowlsaver in action in unskilled hands. Only the second time I've used it, and I have to say that the learning curve is very shallow for you to get started, and practice makes perfect, as I always say. The more times you use it, the more you'll be able to adjust your methods and hone your skills to get even better results. From this bowl, initial bowl, which was just over 11 inches in diameter and just under 3.5 inches deep, I cored another 2 bowls, which under normal circumstances would have ended up on the floor as shavings. An important point is the mortise to be formed on the face of the mother bowl in the beginning, because this gives you a mounting point then for any subsequent bowls that you core, and you can then form a tenon on the back of the cored bowl to core another one should you so wish. A bigger blank and a deeper blank will yield, I would think, up to 4, maybe 5 bowls. So at the end of the day, it's a very worthwhile piece of kit. Safe too, because as you remember, this little chappy decided to detach itself before I thought it would, and there was absolutely no danger whatsoever. The blade is there, it's shielding this area and yourself, and it merely dropped to the floor. No damage, no danger whatsoever. So yes, all in all, a great piece of kit. I'm also impressed with the laser. I was a bit skeptical in the beginning, but after using it, it is a really nice piece of kit. Not essential, but it is a nice thing to have, and it makes it setting up a lot easier as well. Well, thanks very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers now.